Good morning, market snipers. Welcome back. 9 a.m. on the dot. Let's rock and roll. If you're new, awesome. Welcome. If you've been here since day one, and I'm talking since September 6th, 2023, it's only been a couple months, then you're a veteran, right? You've already been through at least 50 live streams. This is our 51st live stream so far. So we got a lot to cover as usual. First 15 to 30 minutes, we're going to go through as many charts as possible. Huge retracements today, right? Well, there was some massive pumps yesterday, so we're getting some retracements back today. So we'll see. Bitcoin we've been talking about, has got some bearish divergence, right? We've had some bearish divergence from here to here. We talked about watch out for possible future bearish divergence. There's additional bearish divergence, and now we have a pending reversal candle after bearish divergence. So we're going to get into that. Bitcoin dominance still hovering around 52%, and you're down almost 1% today, right? We're going to take a look at the NASDAQ. Was it a double top on the NASDAQ? We're going to find out. We're going to take a look at it all together. We're going to jump into it first 15 to 30 minutes. And then if you want me to take a look at anything, Aldo, good morning. Javier, West Diddy, Shankar Samjani. Oh my gosh. I hope I said that okay. Shankar Samjani. Oh, I hope I said it okay, pronounced it okay, but correct me if I'm wrong. And you can laugh at me if you want to. So we'll take a deep dive. And then if you have any symbols like US oil, anything like that, Aldo, then just let me know if you want me to take a look at it in the second half of the stream, and we'll get all through it. So Bitcoin, right? This is what we're going to take a look at. So Bitcoin, here we are. We had bullish divergence at the bottom, right? Bullish divergence. So I'm going to go on and put on this vertical line here, right? Then we have bearish divergence here, okay? So bearish divergence, and then possibly even bearish divergence there. We'll double check it. So the reason why I'm putting on these lines, you'll find out here in a second. And then we drew this longer term upward trend line. And yesterday we even drew out, or even days before that, from back here when it started to break down, we talked about possibly finding support here, bouncing, putting additional bearish divergence in, come down, and then possibly put in either a lower high or additional bearish divergence, right? So what has happened so far? It came down, bounced off this trend line or very close to it, bounced up and put in that additional bearish divergence, right? So it happened exactly what we thought might happen. It did happen. Why? Not because we can tell the future, but because we've seen this play out time and time again, right? So thankfully, and I'm very grateful for Bitcoin, thankfully, Bitcoin loves to tell us when there's a trend reversal, right? Whether it's bullish or bearish divergence, there's many times Bitcoin will tell us that there's a possible trend reversal coming because there's divergences, right, with relative strength index. So let's get back to like the candles here. So here we are. We got the vertical lines on here, right, showing us that it's bullish divergence. And then following that, we had a reversal candle, right? So if you hear me talk about it more and more, then we're looking at that. I love seeing the divergence on Bitcoin followed by a reversal candle, right? It's been showing more and more, and I've been studying this for a while before I ever added to the sharpshooter candles 3.1. I was testing it, and I was testing it. And as time goes on, because I was testing it based off of the past, right? So now we're watching it unfold in real time after it had already put it on the sharpshooter candles 3.1. So that's why I continue to like it more and more, because yes, I did the back testing, but now we're looking, in real time, right? So bullish divergence followed by a reversal candle. Okay, great. Now let's take a look at over here. So we have bearish divergence, right? Bearish divergence. So RSI came down, found support temporarily at the trend line so far, bounced up, and exactly what we talked about, that a couple days in advance, we were talking about how RSI could break down, possibly find support at this RSI trend line, bounce, and put in additional bearish divergence. We weren't 100% certain that it was going to happen, but it did happen, right? So it did happen. We did have bearish divergence. We did have bearish divergence, which the indicator is picking up. Then RSI is breaking down. And we talked about how it could possibly find support, bounce, and put in additional bearish divergence. And it did. It's too early to say it yet because the candle has not closed yet on Bitcoin daily chart. It's a pending reversal candle as of right now. However, if it does close with a reversal candle similar to back here, then again, we're going to be looking at divergence followed by the very next candle having a reversal candle. And in hindsight, that was the bottom pivot point, right? Divergence followed by a falling by a reversal candle. Man, I cannot talk today. I was a little bit tired. Full disclosure, I'm a little bit tired. So I've had 200 milligrams of caffeine, followed by I started drinking another Celsius today. So I'm a little bit tired. Bear with me. My language isn't going to be as good today. Hopefully, you can put this on a slower mode today, Aldo, and not do 1.25 speed, right? But we have bullish divergence followed by the reversal candle. That was the pivot low. We don't know for sure it's going to do the same thing, but I'm just pointing out what we're seeing again in real time. Bearish divergence, bearish divergence, bearish divergence. Possibly we get a reversal candle on the next candle. Isn't this amazing? I traded all this. These indicators are built off of my strategy, right? So I traded this strategy in Bitcoin in 2021, like the whole year, right? 2021, I traded this strategy. Now we have indicators with reversal candles after divergences telling us, potentially when the exact bottom pivot is in. Like we already did divergences, but now we're getting reversal candles. And in hindsight, that was the pivot low. How exciting is this for the next future bull run, right? We're not there yet. Stream brought to you by Celsius. Yes. So I've got my water, but yes, I'm on my second can of Celsius. I needed it today. Non-sparkling. I don't like the sparkling. I don't have any paid affiliates, right? But too much of happy drinks today, sir. No, not enough, Michael Tran. Not enough because I'm tired, right? I'm tired. I partied late last night, not actual partying, but I tell my wife that I was up partying late last night, watching like YouTubes and stuff like that, right? So I was up too late, not because I was actually partying, but I was just because I went to bed late. Couldn't really find hit the sleep mode, right? So I was just watching YouTubes and doing research on it and stuff like that. So that's why I was up late last night and then up early this morning. So I was back up early, 5:45 a.m. Went to bed at like 12:30 a.m. So not as much sleep as I normally get. Try to get at least 6 to 7 hours of sleep. So we're on our second Celsius today. Hopefully it kicks in soon and my English speaking becomes a little bit better. But let's get back on track. So this is what we're talking about: bearish, bullish divergence followed by reversal candle, bearish divergence, pending reversal candle. Are we going to see lower prices? So doesn't mean it's going to go straight down, right? So you can see that how price kind of like after reversal kind of put in a higher low, and then took off to the upside, right? So what if the reversal candle comes in like this, right? Puts in a lower high, then comes back down for retracement. And then at that point, we'll see if it retests like 30,000, 29,000, possibly even the 200-week moving average again, right? And then find support and goes, or find support and goes, something like that, right? The next possible buy the dip scenario. Maybe it takes a month, maybe it takes 2 months. Who knows how long exactly it might take for a correction or a retracement, right? You can already kind of see like the eyeball test, even going through this topping pattern would take probably 2, 3, 4 weeks, right? I wouldn't expect it to happen right away. Even from this pivot point to here, that was 1 month, right? So if it took like 1 month to go through like this topping pattern, perma bulls, get crazy, perma bears get crazy, and literally price just goes sideways for a month, right? So price goes sideways for a month and then retraces. Perma bears get really excited, right? And that goes through another, 2, 3, 4 weeks, who knows? And then maybe starts to go through a bottoming phase, right? Puts in a higher low and then starts to come out the other side. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We're not sure yet. It's way too early to call it. That's why I put in the notes. Way too early to call it. The reverse candle is not even closed yet, right? The overall higher time frames are still bullish. So I'm not saying that this target is not on the table. It still is on the table. Like I said, it's too early to call it. But the signs of it reversing are here. MACD, bearish crossover. MACD, bearish crossover. MACD is trending down, right? So it's checking off the list. Bearish divergence, right? Pending reversal candle. We already had an RSI sell signal back here on this candle here, right? So we're still waiting. And of course, the higher probability of a retracement is price putting in a lower high, right? So that's Bitcoin. That's a Bitcoin update, a longer Bitcoin update than normal. Usually I do a separate video for it. Bitcoin dominance was kind of showing us the way. Had a candle close back here on November 3rd below the trending dots, and it's just been kind of trending downward ever since. Trending dots already hit this target here. Maybe it'll come back down and retest it. Maybe it'll come back down and hit this target here. That's Bitcoin dominance. Let's keep going. We can take a look at some of the crypto assets as well. Let's go to the NASDAQ, right? We talked about this yesterday. Yesterday, it wicked up very close to this wick over here, right? So the July 19th, that's a 2023 high. 2023 rally high. And then, of course, price came down, putting in lower lows, putting in lower highs, and then short squeeze all the way back up. Let's take some water here. By the way, if you like these live streams, do me a favor. Subscribe, smash the subscribe, smash the like button, smash the like button. All right, let's get back to it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Rocking and rolling. NASDAQ, right? Is this going to be a double top? We don't know yet. We don't know if it's going to be a double top yet. Now, it's been putting in lower lows, lower highs, short squeeze back up, close back above here, close back above up here. Had daily close back above this blue line, which is the weekly resistance, but we don't have a weekly close above it yet, right? And this is the daily 2023 high. So I put this trend line here too, right? Just kind of mark it out. So this is this top here. Let's kind of zoom in here. Let's zoom in so you can see it a little bit better, especially if you're on your mobile devices. So we got this trend line here showing where that wick is. Came up short. We got this trend line here showing where the 2023 highest close is, and we haven't had a close above it yet, right? But it's starting to look like a possible lower high. It's starting to look like a possible double top, and we'll see. It's too early to say. I'm just pointing it out, right? So I'm just pointing it out. And if it's going to all-time highs, if we're going to make new all-time highs going back 2 years, right? 2021, all-time highs, then at some point we've been talking about on this entire short squeeze, price is going to come back down, put in a lower high, and then take off to the upside, right? So wherever that's going to be, whether that's here, right? Price would come back down, put in not a lower high, a higher low, right? So short squeeze up, price would come in, put in a higher low, wherever that is, and then take off to the upside. I wouldn't expect price just a short squeeze all the way up to the moon, right? It wouldn't just short squeeze all the way up to the moon. Could it? Of course, everything is possible. I'm just saying probabilities are that at some point after the short squeeze, and that was a massive move. That was a big move from the bottoms there all the way to that wick so far, 13.4%. That doesn't sound like a lot when you're trading crypto, Bitcoin, and tech stocks. That doesn't sound like a lot. But 13% on the NASDAQ futures is huge, right? That is massive. From wick to wick with futures, if you were trading futures, that's 130% in a matter of a couple weeks, right? So if we're going higher prices, and this is why I don't feel the need to worry about fear of missing out or anything like that, because probabilities say that after short squeeze, there's going to be a pullback, and at some point, if we are truly going higher, not confirmed, right? Could be a possible double top. Then at some point, we're going to put in a higher low. Higher low. Yep, I said it right. Okay, good. NASDAQ. So that's the NASDAQ. Is this going to be a double top, or is price going to put in a higher low and take off to the upside? We don't know. It's way too early to say. We're not sure. But what we can say is that the weekly chart is currently bullish, but could also put in a lower high on the weekly chart. You've got some highs here with bearish divergence. This could be a lower high and or possibly even additional bearish divergence if price, the weekly candle closes higher on the weekly chart while our side closes down here. So a couple things to consider, and watching, and we'll be watching it every step of the way. So that's the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at Dow Jones. Looks a little bit different. Had a reversal candle on the weekly chart, and it's starting to, breaking out of this downward trend line. But again, still lower than the 2023 highs, right? 35,500-ish. SP 500, very similar, reversal candle, still closing below, right? RSI is still back at 58, even though price is pumping up. So that's, to me, it's looking like possible lower highs, and then we can see if price continues back down from there. Let's look at MACD. MACD still doesn't have a bullish crossover, so we'll find out. We'll keep an eye on it. Russell 2000 looks completely different, right? Was pumping back up, had a reversal candle. Now this weekly candle is starting to look a little bit more bearish. It was looking like it was going to close back above the trending dots, get back above these trend lines here, and it didn't. Doesn't mean it won't next week or by the end of this week tomorrow when the weekly candle closes. But as of right now, it looks a little bit different, and it's not challenging these pivot highs up here from 2023. It's not challenging that yet. So it's looking a little bit more bearish on the Russell 2000. Let's keep going. We got a pending sell signal on the dollar weekly chart, right? So this is the first time we're seeing a pending sell signal on the weekly chart. It's hit two targets to the downside so far. We've been watching this and covering it. On the daily chart, looks a little bit different, right? We had bearish divergence back here. We talked about it. Then we had a sell signal. Then it was looking like a lower high was getting put in on the dollar. And then target 1, target 2 is hit. Will it find support at target 2 and bounce, right? Will it find support target 2 and bounce? Will it find support at target 3 and bounce? 4, and if not, then we'll talk about it breaking down from there, right? So we're going to take it level by level and step by step, because it's bullish until it's not. And when it's not, then we'll call it out in real time, right? So the daily chart is still bearish, right? Still trending down on the daily chart. And now the weekly chart, which was still bullish, has now got a pending sell signal on the weekly chart. So we're going to find out if it's going to, this was it, and it's going to reverse back down. And if it doesn't find support and it continues to be bearish, then we're going to expect prices to come back down. If it starts breaking below this last support box at 102, if it starts breaking down from there, then we'll expect the dollar to come back down and retest the 200-week moving average. But expect price to find support until it doesn't, right? So that's what we're going to wait and watch for. And then if it starts breaking back down, then we have this arrow pointing down to this next target back below 100. Remember, this was the fourth target from the top up here that was never retested. There was some profit taking down here just below 100, and it never retested 200-week moving average, never hit target 4. It only hit target 3 of 4. And then the bounce, it only hit target 3 of 4 to the upside, right? So the fourth target wasn't hit. The fourth target wasn't hit. And so that is the dollar, the daily, and the weekly. You can see the overall markets. There's some pumping going on yesterday, some 7%ers, some 17%, right? On various stocks. Target was up 17%. It's got a pending buy signal on the weekly chart. It's back down 0.5% today. So depending on what charts you're watching, whether it's crypto, let's take a look at crypto. You got Chainlink. It's still ultra bearish on the weekly chart, as you can see. But is that it, right? Is that it? That was a massive pump. You would expect prices to take a break, take a deep breath, take a sip of water. You would expect prices to take a sip of water, right? So are we going to see a retracement at some point? It did come back and retest the 200-week moving average. Did get a bounce there for a second. Let's take a look at the daily chart and Chainlink. Chainlink, not really any bearish divergence, but we did have a RSI sell signal, and it's trending back down. So are we going to see a retracement on Chainlink? It's possible. It's possible we see one on Bitcoin with the bearish divergence and the reverse candle. So will other crypto assets follow, right? So it seems like it's possible that it's trending that way. Let's take a look at the MACD. There's a bearish MACD crossover possibly. Let's see if we can see this. I'm not sure if you can see this on your screen. So let me zoom in here. Pending MACD bearish crossover. We already had the RSI sell signal. And then we'll see if it starts to break down from there. So that's Chainlink. Don't forget, remember, none of this is financial advice. Always do your own research. This is for education and entertainment purposes only. And don't forget to take profits along the way, right? Don't forget, it's not up for forever and it's not down forever. So whether you're shorting the market, it's not down forever. Make sure to take profits. If the market is pumping, it's not pumping forever, right? It's not even the bull run yet. I know a lot of people are been calling for the bull run. They called for it in 2022. They called for it in 2023. In my opinion, it's still not the bull run for Bitcoin. And usually the doesn't mean that the bottom is not in, but when price starts really pumping and when price is in the bull run, it usually starts right before the halving, right? So there's usually a correction before the halving. And then, in past cycles, it started about a month before based off of the weekly chart. Whether that happens and plays out again, every cycle is going to be different. And there's never a guarantee that we're going to get another bull run. Hopefully we do. Hopefully we get another bull run and the market snipers can all take advantage of it. But we are going to stay neutral all the way until that happens so that we don't get caught off guard and we can continue to sniper the markets together. So Chainlink quickly on DOT, still bullish on DOT, RSI sell signal, right? No MACD bearish crossover yet. Weekly chart is still bullish, right? Weekly chart is still bullish. Higher time frames are still bullish. Cardano still ultra bullish on the daily chart. Still bullish on the weekly chart, right? So, with Bitcoin dominance breaking down, it is possible that crypto pumps for, a couple of weeks while Bitcoin starts to correct, right? So we'll see how it works out. That's mana. You have some, RSI sell signal on the daily chart as well. But again, the weekly chart is still bullish. Doesn't mean there couldn't be a pullback for a week or two, kind of like let the trending dots start to catch up and then make us move after that, right? So that's crypto. Let's take a look at the Magnificent Seven, and then we'll start getting through some of the comments. We're 24 minutes in, rocking and rolling. NVIDIA, could this be a double top? Could be a double top after finding support here at target 1. RSI is not pumping. RSI is bullish on the weekly chart still, but it's not like it's pumping. So when price is up here at $500, right? RSI was at 88. Now relative strength is at 65, and price is still back up here. So could it be a double top? And could we see some of these like divergences, right? So there's some divergences where RSI is not pumping to the moon, but price is back up to all-time highs. So we'll see how it plays out and see how it works out. Let's look at the daily chart in the video, right? So could be a possible double top scenario. We'll see. It's too early to say, right? We know that at some point the 20% gap is going to be filled. When? We don't know. We weren't expecting it to go straight down, right? Takes time to play out. Meta, possible bearish divergence on the weekly chart. Again, massive 20% gap down here. Eventually it'll get filled, just like this massive 21% gap was filled after putting that gap in almost a year later, pumping all the way back up to fill it. So at some point, expecting 20% gap to be filled, 10% gap over here, 200-week moving average should be retested at 247. When? We don't know, but we're going to continue to watch it. Amazon looks a little bit different. Amazon already came back down and retested the March 2020 lows. Already had a massive correction back below the 200-week moving average. And after coming all the way back down here, has rallied back and regained the 200-week moving average. So a lot of these Magnificent Seven stocks haven't gone below the 200-week moving average or just bounced off of it and never came back down and retest these lows, where Amazon did. So it does look a little bit different. Microsoft, ultra bullish on the weekly chart, making all-time highs. I'm not shorting Microsoft when it's in price discovery, but is it going to put in bearish divergence on the weekly chart? It's possible, but as of right now, it's ultra bullish. And if you're in Microsoft, you'd be trying to push this as long as possible to the upside. We're not a perma bear. We're not saying short, 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 right? Once it starts to reverse back around, there's a buy signal here at 330. At that point, it's hands off of the shorting, right? I never shorted Microsoft, but if I had shorted it and it hit this target and started to reverse back around, I'd be out of my short and be taking those profits, right? So Tesla broke down, right? Broke down, and it could be it's starting to flip back bullish on the weekly chart. It's a pending buy signal. Currently still back below the trending dots as of right now. So if we look at this, kind of zoom in here, we were talking about this at this pivot low down here. Did it find support at this target? And then it wicked back up and then actually closed back above the 200-week moving average. So closed above it, closed above it, closed above, and continues to trend back above. So if we look at the daily chart, right, and it filled that gap. We were talking about this at the lows. It was oversold. We said it can remain oversold, and it did. It was oversold, oversold, oversold. Then it looked like it was starting to find support, possibly, right? Then it was no longer oversold, started to reverse back around. And then we were talking about, will it fill this gap? And it did. It filled that gap. And it came back up here, back tested this trend line. We even talked about it. Would it come back and back test this trend line and fill this gap? It did, right? So now after hitting that, is it going to come back down, put in a higher low, and the low is in and it takes off to the upside? Possibly, right? Or is this going to be a lower high? It's too early to say. It's easier to call it from these pivot points, right? But is this going to be a pivot point of either a lower high, or will price come back down and put in a higher low? Too early saying Tesla. We'll continue to watch it. But it did get rejected here. It did fill that gap on Tesla. Let's keep going. Apple. This was interesting. I saw this morning. Good morning, everyone. Aldo, 4K Mods, Michael Tran, G-Rod. Good morning, Sniper Kings and Queens. G-Rod, awesome. Yeah, remember, there's some Sniper Queens out there. So remember, this is partially filled gap, right? And I never even said it was filled. I didn't change this to green and put a check mark. I always typed in partially filled gap, right? So there's a gap back down. This is just coming from experience, right? It gapped down, hit multiple targets to the downside, uh, pumped all the way back up, partially filled the gap. And at that pivot point, right, I put on there partially filled gap, never filling the gap. After all of this, coming all the way back down, lower lows, lower highs, right? And then short squeeze all the way back up. We can change this from partially filled to gap filled, right? So in real time, what was it, yesterday or today? Today. So gap filled today, right? So let's do the emoji. Let's go ahead and put that on there and hit OK and change the style to green. So real time, gap filled. So here we put partially filled gap, and it was a reminder that it was never fully filled gap. Doesn't mean that's it. Doesn't mean it's not going to go higher. It could, but now that gap is filled, and now that it's filled, is that going to end up is price going to end up putting in a lower high and break down and come back and test even lower lows? Remember, Apple is one of the few of the stocks that never even came back to retest the 200-week moving average. It never did. So at one point in the future, will it come back and retest the 200-week moving average? Possibly. We don't know yet. So this is the high, lower high, came all the way back down, was putting in lower lows, battled all the way back up, and just filled the gap today with a wick. So we'll see. It could go higher, right? It could come all the way back up, even put in a double top. It's possible. And of course, I think it's the lower probability, but could see all-time highs, right? Maybe price just goes to the moon and we continue to move up after that. So that's Apple. Google, we haven't covered the Magnificent Seven for, a few live streams in more detail. Had all this bearish divergence on Google. This is the high. Let's take a look at RSI. So you had bearish divergence, right? This was a shorter term lower high. And here we are. RSI is coming back up. Really longer term, like Google still hasn't put in a lower high, right? We were talking about a lower high here for this, like if you're going to short it, this was like a lower high. But now we're looking for like an actual lower high to come in, like on, if RSI closed below 65, right? Then we'd be looking at for a lower high in Google. And this would be, if it was, that'd be kind of like a fake out. A lower high gets put in, and then see if price comes back down. So that's Google. That's Magnificent Seven. Let's take a look. Anything else jumping out at us? Tech stocks getting big retracements here. So we'll keep an eye on it. Target, that was a massive move up. Let's see. Cardano still holding on, but getting very wicky, right? Getting very wicky up there. RSI sell signal. So let's go through the comments. Let's kind of go through everything. Let me know. Javier, what up, snipers? West Diddy, let's go. Good morning. Morning, Olson. A bit of dumperoo today across the board. Yep, we had pumperoo yesterday, right? There was a massive pump yesterday. So, we're getting retracements and some of the stocks are dumping, right? So let's take a look at it. Where's the VIX? What's the VIX doing? VIX still bearish, right? Is it going to find support here and put in a higher low? It's possible, right? So we got lows, we got a double bottom possibly, right? And then after this, coming back up and hitting multiple targets to the upside, back testing the 200-week moving average, it dumps straight back down. Will it put in a higher low, find support, right? And then break out to the upside? It's possible. So it has not hit these longer term targets, never hit this fourth target up here. There was a target down here, 2, 3, 4. Will it put in a higher low, right? Find support and then break out to the upside. If it does, that's not good for the S&P 500. That's not good for the NASDAQ. That's not good for stocks in general. So we'll keep an eye on it in real time. That's the daily chart. As of right now, it's still bearish, and it's been trending down since hitting the 200-week moving average back here on October 23rd. It's just been correcting for almost a month. We'll keep an eye on it, like I said, and we'll wait and see how it plays out, see if it finds support here, and see if it breaks out after that. So if it does, just know that the overall market is going to correct. So let's jump back over to this chart. I do like looking at this chart, and I've watched it on and off for a couple of years, but just kind of interesting to see that after pumping back up from like 25%, 40%, it spiked all the way back up to above 55, 54, 55%. And then today with a little bit of the Aldo says dumperoo, right? We're back to that 50% of all SP 500 stocks are above 200-day moving average. So we're right at that pivot point for 50% of all stocks on the SP 500. So flip a coin right now, right? 50-50. Flip a coin. Are more stocks going to regain the 200-day moving average, or more stocks going to drop back below? We don't know yet, right? So it is trending up on the MACD. It is bullish on the daily chart, whereas it's still bearish on the MACD, a weekly chart as of right now. So that's what we're kind of waiting and watching for. Got ads on here, right? Got ads on here because I don't pay for stockcharts.com. I don't pay for them, and I'm definitely not an affiliate, right? So that's that. That's not too much there. Just like to check in on it every once in a while. And Bitcoin, we already covered it. Still pending the reversal candle right now. Still pending on it. And so let's get rock and rolling. U.S. oil, Aldo. Yep. So we're talking about that. You were in a long position, and I remember on the live streams I was saying what? I was saying be careful, right? I said it was bearish on the daily chart and it's bearish on the weekly chart, and it may have found support, and you may have played it on a lower time frame, but I haven't even looked at it today. But I'm going to assume that is breaking down. I think I did see West Texas oil at a glance on my phone that it was dumping. So I'm assuming U.S. oil is as well. So let's take a look at it. But yeah, I remember on the live streams I was saying caution, 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 because you're in a long position, and it was a bounce, right? So that's why I was cautioning you, because up here, of course, quick recap. We had remember, we just talked about this on Bitcoin. Had bearish divergence, and the next candle there was a reversal candle. And in hindsight, that was the perfect pivot point, right? We just covered this again, and I love it in hindsight, right? Price broke down, came back, put a lower high, and it's been bearish ever since, right? Came back down. We were talking about it back here end of last week probably, or even on Monday. I can't remember what live stream was it, although I was saying caution, you're in a long position. And I was saying caution because it's still currently bearish. It could just be coming back up in the trending dots, putting in a lower high, and could be breaking down, right? It's still bearish on the daily chart, and then it's still bearish on the weekly chart. So, I do have this lower target here that was never hit. 200-week moving average down here at $70. It's still bearish. There was a MACD bearish crossover a couple weeks ago, RSI sell signal. And so you were taking a long position on a shorter time frame, right? And I was saying what on the live stream? I had no horses in this race, but I was there to try to show you what I see. And what I see is that it was still bearish in the daily, and you're doing a counter trade, which is fine. But if you're buying those rips, you better sell those. If you're buying those dips, you better sell those rips, right? And in hindsight, that was accurate. So a lower high was getting put in. It was still bearish overall, not only in the daily and the weekly chart. And then what happens? It just dumps straight down. And it looks like, this is where I'd put on like eyeball test. It looks like it's a magnet. The 200-week moving average is just pulling. It's just pulling price back down. It's like price wants to retest it. Hasn't retested it since June 2023. It looks like it's just hammering right towards it, right? So we'll see if it finds support there and it comes back down to it. So broke down from this support area. It was a key target, key support area. And then you got this longer term possible target area down here. We'll see what happens. Too early to say, but it is trending towards that 200-week moving average. That is U.S. oil. Good morning. Good morning, Shankar. Samjani. Oh, God, I hope I'm saying that correct. Sure. Let's look at Tesla looking for an entry. Looking for an entry on the buy or sell. It's too early. It's not like a clear and defined target. We've kind of already looked at it. Buy on what? The weekly chart, daily chart, right? It's too early to say. It could just be putting in a lower high as of right now. It's just too early because even on the daily chart, this could just be a lower high. You'd want it like if you're looking for an entry on a buy, you'd want to wait for like another higher low to be put in, right? You want to buy off of like, price putting in, this could be a possible lower high. So you want to be looking for like a buy the dip scenario, right? Or if like, now that it's put this in, right? Say this is a downward trend line, then you want to see like a higher low get put in, right? Find support and then, buying off that support with the buy, excuse me, or breaking a key downward trend line. So not something I'd be buying off of right now, especially after getting rejected from resistance and closing that gap. But depends on what time frame you're looking at too. So you just have to decide what you're looking at. AVAX, you want to take a look at AVAX 4K mods? Okay, let's take a look at it. I know people were talking about AVAX pumping. We've been watching AVAX as well. I know it's on my watch list, so let's just pull it up real quick and to save time. So AVAX, that's market cap. Oh, there it is. Okay, got it. Got it. Still ultra bullish on the daily chart, right? Still ultra bullish on the weekly chart. So are you in a long position, 4K mods? What are you doing? Are you in a position? You're just trying to push it as long as possible? Because we had the weekly candle breakout here on this with a close here at $11. Then we had a buy signal on the weekly chart back here at $12.45, let's call it, on the close. And then there's follow through to the upside. And now the candles are ultra bullish. And this target still hasn't been hit yet. This is the longer term. This is the first longer term target. And it's possible that it goes up and hits that. Maybe that's it. Maybe it doesn't even go any higher. It's always possible. But as of right now, it's still ultra bullish. And so you probably want to try to push this as long as possible. Obviously not financial advice, but bullish, ultra bullish on the daily chart, ultra bullish on the weekly chart. It's possible we see prices come up here and hit the longer term target one at $38. That'd be insane. That would be amazing. Currently up 10% as we see this right now. Just flipped from 9.85% to 10%. And it was even higher, right? It was up to $24 today. So currently bullish, ultra bullish, not only on the daily and the weekly chart. There was an RSI sell signal, but it's ultra bullish. So, when the higher time frames are bullish and ultra bullish, that supersedes everything else, in my opinion. But with, keeping in mind that, hey, maybe there's bearish divergence forming. There isn't yet, but after today's close, it's possible it puts in bearish divergence, right? And then, of course, there could be future bearish divergence. So, stream brought to you by Celsius. Yeah, today it seemed like it. I needed a little bit extra of a boost. Finished 1.5 Celsius today. So that's going to give me what? 300 milligrams of caffeine. And, we got to start getting the happy feet going for Aldo. So he gets pumped up over there. Michael Chan, too much of happy drinks today, sir? Maybe, or not enough, right? So I'm not stuttering right now because of I think the caffeine kicked in. That's why sometimes you look like you're on Coke. Oh, 4K mods. This is a family channel, right? Maybe Coca-Cola, right? You've been hanging out with Aldo too much. He actually said the full name, right? Aldo, can you tell what price BTC would have to close the daily for pending reversal to go? It's not based off of price. It's based off of a couple other factors that I'm not going to reveal on the live stream because it is a copycat league out there, and there are influencers out there. There are people out there that in my opinion, have tried to steal like some of my charts and ideas and use them as their own. And so, I do know it's a copycat league out there. So I'm not going to tell you what the reverse candle is based off of, but I can tell you it's not based off of price. So I don't know what price would have to close at, but it's a few different things combined, and when they come together, and they come together after bearish divergence, it just I like it more and more, right? So I do like it, but it's not based off of price. So I'm not sure what the daily close would have to look at for that, but we'll just continue watching. It's pending reversal, and the candle close is going to happen in less than 12 hours from now. So let's keep going. G-Rod, good morning, Sniper Kings and Queens. Yes, we do have some Sniper Queens in here. That is for sure. Good morning, Market Snipers. Let's all smash the lakes. You mean likes? Unless you're at the lake again. Rick's Moneymaker's Home, and show our appreciation. Yeah, Rick, thank you for smashing the like button. Thanks for commenting that. I appreciate that. Remember, our goal is still 100 likes. I think we've hit 64 likes on a live stream and 87 likes on a recorded video. So we still have not hit 100 likes yet, but I know it's going to happen. I know we're going to continue to keep working together and make it happen together. So thank you for that. Laugh out loud, likes. Yep. All right, got it. I mean, I knew what you're saying. I knew, unless you're at the lake again. Cote, is it coat or cote? Lap. Oh man. Laparashvili. There you go. I hope you got some good laughs at me if I said it wrong. Ada dot. Yeah, so looked at it just real briefly, but we can take a look at it. Dot still bullish on the daily chart, right? And still bullish on the weekly chart. So overall, I'm going to say they're both bullish. There is an RSI sell signal, and there was a reversal candle on dot. So is it going to go through a correction? Possibly, right? It's still pretty early, and doesn't mean that there couldn't be bearish divergence in the future. But as of right now in the daily chart, there is a reversal candle. But keep in mind this reversal candle is not following divergence, right? So the reversal candle, it could be a reversal candle that says, hey, that's the pivot for now, shorter term pivot, and prices are going to retrace. But it's not a guarantee. It's not 100% accurate all the time, right? So, but it's just interesting to say that, hey, there is a reversal candle, there is an RSI sell signal, right? And this could be a potential lower high, and then we could see a retracement. However, with that said, DOT is still bullish on the daily chart, and it is still bullish on the weekly chart. So everything could be bought up, and it could be that price just kind of goes sideways for a week or two and builds up some momentum, lets the trending dots kind of catch up, let the moving averages kind of catch up. So you just have to decide what your strategy is. Are you trading in and out of dot based off of the daily chart? Are you waiting based off of the weekly chart? Are you on lower time frames, right? So you just have to decide what your game plan is for dot. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to tell you what to do. Dot, like we said, is still currently ultra bullish. That is an ugly wick. If it were to close like that, that is ugly, right? And there is a RSI sell signal from yesterday. Doesn't mean there couldn't be additional bearish divergence, because there is bearish divergence, right? And there could be additional bearish divergence, or it could put in a sneaky lower high. So, but currently right now, you're welcome. Was it Cote or Cote? Sorry, I'm not good with pronunciations, so I apologize in advance. That's why Aldo always misspells my name on purpose. Keep a little bit of the balance. Keep everything going. Very wiki is still currently ultra bullish on the daily chart, still bullish on the weekly chart. So, it's getting bought up on the weekly chart, that wick, right? As of right now, it's too early to say because the week doesn't close for a few more days. So it's still really early in this week, but it could just be kind of like letting the trending dots catch up and build up momentum from here, right? So you just have to decide what your game plan is based off the weekly chart. You're probably not selling. If you're trading based off the daily chart, I don't know if you'd be selling now. Maybe you would be locking in profits, right? Uh, but there is an RSI sell signal. There was bearish divergence. There could be a retracement at some point, or maybe you do a combination of both, right? Maybe it's like you hold and then you just add to your position by buying the dip, right? So, and that would be like sort of like a dollar cost averaging by buying dips and stuff. And that is a much better strategy than there's so many people, so many investors talking about dollar cost averaging in the bear market. I was all over that. In 2022, I was like, that sounds like a terrible idea. Why would you buy the dip all the way down and dollar cost average in? I would never do that. And I was very against. Here we go. This sounds like a little rant. We're 51 minutes in. Are you guys ready for a rant? Let's get a rant going. The entire bear market of 2022, right? As price is correcting, why would you ever buy the dip and dollar cost average in a bear market? That makes no sense. You're buying at say Bitcoin pumps to 48,000. You buy the dip and then it goes to 30,000, right? Then it pumps to 35,000 and you buy the dip and it goes to 25,000. I mean, you're so far upside down, it doesn't even make sense to me, right? I'd rather go to cash. Cash was a much better strategy. You could have gotten like a 3 to 4% money market, or you could have gone to like a CD for 5 to 6%. Even Coinbase is even throwing out 5% APYs for your USD, right? So there is much better strategies of cashing out, whether it was at 61,000 like I did, or maybe you're late to the party and that last bounce in say like April 2022, it bounced to 48,000. Some of our snipers in the Discord got out at around that 46, 48,000 because they weren't able to get out at like 61,000 or 65,000. But that's okay because it's all about learning the lessons and learning from mistakes and then continue to get better, right? Is continued growth and continue to get better, continue to learn those charts and perfect your strategy, whatever it is. So, getting out 46, 48,000, going to cash and then waiting to buy the right dip. And when was that? Well, we bought the right dip at 16,800 at the bottom. So going to cash 48,000, collecting 3-4%, even if you didn't collect any 3 to 4%, price dropping from 48,000 to 16,800, you could have picked up an additional 2.5 Bitcoin. If you owned one full Bitcoin at $48,000 and you went to cash, you could buy 2.5 Bitcoins, right? So even if you didn't collect 5% interest or 3% or 4% interest, I kept saying in 2022, cash is a strategy. So if you weren't as aggressive as I was in shorting Ethereum, right? And shorting Ethereum, shorting those bounces, I kept saying cash was a strategy, right? Cash was a strategy. So with that rant, you know it, right? All right, let's keep going. You're welcome. You're welcome. Because you don't know where the bottom will end up. Well, we didn't have a magic crystal ball, David, but what we did do, right? And we're gonna pat ourselves on the back here. But what we did do is we went, and I don't know if you follow me on the Twitter X app, but right here, this was December. This was November and December, right? Yeah, we don't know where the bottom is. That's why we wait for a higher probability reversal, right? A higher probability reversal. We wait for it. The week hasn't closed for Bitcoin, but it could be breaking out of this downward consolidation. Bullish divergence called out 8 weeks ago. This was January 11th, right? January 11th, 2023, right? So we didn't have to worry about buying the dip 2022, right? Bullish divergence called out 8 weeks ago. I was all over it in the Discord, right? CME gap at 28,805-ish, right? CME gap. We have that on the chart. Daily buy signal was January 4th. I got in around January 3rd, January 4th, right on the flip of January 3rd, January 4th, right before the buy signal, right? Daily buy signal was, so it was right around, it was a pending buy signal on the daily chart. This is the weekly chart. The weekly chart looked like it was breaking out of this downward consolidation. We had bullish divergence on our indicator. We had an RSI buy signal. We had bullish divergence. This downward wedge, it started to break out. It started to break out. I already had targets mapped out. So yeah, we don't know where the bottom is, but we waited for a higher probability reversal. And this is weekly chart is showing at 18,200. Based off the daily chart, the daily buy signal, I got in at 16,800. So if you scroll down, here is the 4-day chart. We are all over it. The week chart, the weekly chart, the daily chart, the 4-day chart had a pending buy signal, right? We were all over it. Bullish divergence. We were watching. We were watching. We were waiting patiently. Boom, 16,800. We're in rock and roll with a leveraged position, right? So yeah, we don't know where the bottom is. That's why we wait for a higher probability reversal, long-term bullish divergence. It was looking like a potential higher low. It was starting to break back above, especially on the lower time frames. So yeah, that's why we went to cash. That's why we don't worry about missing out. You know, that price is going to the moon when it was pumping at 48,000 in April 2022, right? We weren't worried about all of that because we were looking to buy the right dip. And that we did. Ladies and gentlemen, we did buy the right dip. We played it out. Probably called it better than most. I'm not saying it was called the best, right? We weren't perfect by no means. But, you know, in hindsight, selling at 61,000, I felt like I was late to the party. We bought at 16,800. I shorted Ethereum for the first time with 10x leverage at $4,384. And then I shorted Ethereum again at 3,408 on that bounce of April 2022, all documented in the Discord. Every single step of the way, we were calling it out in the Discord. We were talking about it on the live streams for the recorded coaching. All on those live streams of recorded coaching, you could go back 60 plus hours recorded. We talked about all those moves in real time. They're all recorded. They are all there. They are still there. I didn't delete any of the 6,700 posts in the Discord. You could search Bitcoin. You could search Ethereum. You could search all these coins, all these the NASDAQ breakdown. You could search it all in the Discord. It is still there since March 2022, 1.5 years, calling it out, talking about it, all the live coaching, 60 plus hours, calling it out in real time, recorded with all of our people, with all of that. David, thank you for bringing that up. But yes, if you can't call the bottoms, you can't tell the future, that's okay. We've got indicators telling us reversals are potentially happening in real time with divergences. Now we've got reversal candles, pending reversal candles after divergences. Then we have buy signals. So yeah, we wait for higher probability reversals. We don't like to guess. We don't like to catch falling knives. We don't like to do any of that. We take higher probability reversals. And this concludes the rant almost right at 1 hour. Thank you for all of your support. David, Aldo, Michael Tran, Rick's Moneymakers, Helton, G-Rod, everyone who, Kote, Shankar, Wes Diddy, Javier, everyone who is participating and on these live streams. And of course, the replay crew. I appreciate all the replay crew as well. Let's pump up those likes, pump up those subscriptions, and let's rock and roll. Thank you, and we'll see you tomorrow on Friday. It's going to be a good one.